We are fighting the Titans on Azeroth. At least that's what Doran says, and we all know Doran is a highly trusted source. Yes. So evidently, the Titans are gonna fight us, and they want to go fisticuffs on our home turf. We're gonna have home field advantage. So let's see what Doran has to say about why, in fact, we are gonna fight the Titans, and maybe whether or not we're gonna win or lose. We better fucking win, because these guys are dicks. Here we go.
Huge things are happening right now, and for the first time ever, we could actually be seeing the Titan Pantheon on the world of Azeroth. With Iridikron's recent plans, he seems to want to get revenge on them and to complete what the old gods have started. Seeing that they have been weakened, they could potentially arrive in their form. Now, even more interestingly, we have hints of the Burning Legion coming, we have Xaladet and the Void Lords most likely coming.
Oh yeah,
and
these guys
also have the Light. So if we get the Titans, are we literally in for the most ridiculous scenario of all time? Are we just going to get one huge battlefield on Azeroth? What is even going on? If you guys want to buy Total War, Elder Scrolls, or any other game, you can get them at great prices.
I would love to tank the Titans. Imagine holding aggro on all the Titans at once. What a legendary moment that'd be for me. I'm gonna do it. Right in the taint of the Titans.
Check out my link in the description and get some amazing deals with Gamivo. First off, before talking about the very likely return of the Titans, you may be wondering, but how could they return? Aren't the Titans dead? And the answer is not really. This much we have known since Legion, but their lore has been quite obscure and never really fully explained. In the ages past, when Sargeras fully betrayed them, he completely obliterated their physical forms. Then they were protected by a spell and tried to enter the Keepers
took out the strongest of the Titans already, right? But we had the help of the Titans as well. But Sargeras was known to be like physically the strongest of the Titans.
But that failed as well. Ultimately in Legion, we learned that Sargeras managed to get most of their souls, and he tried to create a new Dark Pantheon, with him almost succeeding through Agramar. Then they managed to recreate themselves, and ultimately with Argus imprisoned Sargeras at the seat of the Pantheon only a few years back. All of you guys had seen that. So to answer the question, the Titans are indeed alive. Probably not alive in their full form and might, and very likely significantly weakened.
Of course they're alive. They're just weakened. Why is he speculating on whether they're alive or not? We know that they're sitting on the Pantheon right now with Sargeras imprisoned, and Illidan is there as well.
The forms were destroyed, which is exactly why Iridikron is feeling so confident of waiting for them once they return.
But they're weakened.
Wait for the Titans, like 10,000 or thousands.
The best way to describe the Titans' current state is they are in a post-nut state. Right? They're in that post-nut. They just used everything they had, and now they're sitting potentially with post-nut clarity as well on the Pantheon seats, doing absolutely nothing.
Of years back. Keep in mind, the Titans originally were ridiculously powerful, like mind-blowingly powerful. They couldn't even step into Azeroth powerful. So get us back when he was a Titan, managed to split the entire world.
Jesus, I forgot to turn those off.
Sword in one single swing. Amantul managed to pull out Yashiraj, the strongest old god on Azeroth, like it was nothing, like if he was just a weed.
Although
in the
that
ground.
was well timed.
However, now they have been sort of recreated. They could be something more akin to just powerful beings, not mortals, but possibly stronger than the Keepers, and maybe understanding.
The original WoW Titans have clearly been weakened, because the original WoW Titans could have just like flicked the dick of Azeroth and exploded it. And we wouldn't have had a shot. So now they're in a weakened state. Weakened through lore and weakened through just gradually bringing them to a lesser powerful state than I think originally was intended when they first introduced them to the Azerothian lore.
Of the old gods, which means that the Iridikron and Xaladet could definitely stand a chance against them. However, why would the Titans return, and what are all the hints that we currently have? So all throughout Dragonflight, we've been getting hints of the Titans not being the nice guys that we used to believe they were. Personally, I don't think this is that much of a contradiction, because the Titans weren't ever really portrayed as the ultimate benevolent saviors. Sure, they were to the Titan Forge that were created by them, so it was their propaganda, but their ambiguity has been sort of obvious since the start. They had Algalon the Observer in Ulduar back in Wrath of the Lich King that would trigger the entire destruction of the world just so that their enemy couldn't get Azeroth, the world soul. They didn't care one bit about the entirety of life just being wiped out in a split second.
They never gave a shit.
What we had known, the entire point of life and all the things they built, all the facilities on Azeroth, was to serve a purpose, their purpose of order, and converting the world soul of Azeroth into a Titan and raising it as one of their own. This has been evident with the recent documents of them using the Titan Forge just as a workforce, some of them rebelling, and then by having their keepers such as Tyr converting dragons and just using them as experiments.
Tyr was a
champ. We had seen that recently in the the newest Azeroth cinematic, where we kinda learn what has been going on. We previously learned that Tyr had essentially corrupted the eggs, turned them into Titan beings, although he would call this more akin to upgrading or enhancing them, or
yeah, he didn't see
them
this
from evil
corrupting
influence from a Titan perspective. Azeroth and the Primalist saw this as a complete atrocity, and looks like Alexstrasza played a part in this, as she said, that abhorrent acts should have never happened, and I regret my part in it every day. So obviously, it is implied that this was something the Titans had forced upon the dragons, which really goes in line with the fact that the Primalists do have a point, although they might have taken that point way too far. This also perfectly goes in line with everything Iridikron has been saying throughout the expansion and the latest cinematic.
Yeah, I mean, as far as villains go, I think they've done a decent job with the Primalists and kind of showing them in a light that their cause is just, but their means is not. I mean, it's essentially another Arthas, story arc where, he's trying to do the right thing, maybe ends up purging a city or two in the process, and probably shouldn't have done that. Although I still believe Arthas did nothing wrong. But anyways, the Primalists, they have a right to be angry about what happened. They essentially had their entire race converted, race changed in the womb. And there's nothing they could do about it.
Managed to travel back in time and use the artifact of Deathwing he stole from Aberrus, and he collected the essence of Galakrond within it and is bringing it back. We've learned that it has been confirmed that he's working with Xal'atath, that she has been that secret ally that we've actually personally helped in the past, which I gotta say is a pretty genius move from Blizzard's part. We've also learned that the Harbinger is bringing Queen Ashara and potentially other beings of the Void, which strongly signifies a new Void expansion. However, that is not even the most interesting part. The most interesting part is that Iridikron apparently is planning to lure the Titans and to ultimately defeat them. See, Iridikron is like the embodiment of revenge. Personally, I don't think he even cares all that much about restoring back the original order or turning the dragons primal. He just wants to defeat the Titans to spite them because they brought so much.
Yeah, I actually think of the three primal incarnates, Iridikron is the least. He doesn't want peace. He simply wants to destroy everything in a vengeful state. Whereas the other two, I feel like, kind of they just want to be free. They just want their freedom. They want to be able to create Proto-Drake race again and, go about their lives happily. Well, maybe actually even, what's his name? The Fire one. He's kind of insane, actually, so I take that back. Well, he's kind of corrupted, too, now by the Shadow Flame, so he's all fucked up. But of all of them, Iridikron is the craziest, for sure. He just wants to destroy the world.
Bad to him, and he's willing to do whatever it takes. At the moment, we can't really say for certain what will happen.
More particularly, he wants to destroy the Pantheon.
Some really strong hints. Iridikron says that he plans to use the essence of Galakrond and the artifact to more than likely corrupt the world soul of Azeroth. Based on the Xal'atath documents we can found, the plan is to finish up the process of turning Azeroth into a being of the void. Based on the documents, it is implied that the old gods almost succeeded in doing their job, but were stopped by the Titans, and the Titans probably never managed to reverse this corruption, so now they just need that one last bit to complete the ritual. Since Galakrond was an old god creation, this has been confirmed, it is likely that his essence has just enough old god influence to finish up this process and to wrap it up. So if this scenario is the case, Iridikron's plans to do that is what will bring the Titan Pantheon for the first time on Azeroth. Initially, as we had known, they were too big, so they couldn't even come in, but since they have been significantly weakened, they might just...
You're telling me this man ain't post-nut? Look at the positioning and everything. I mean, he is clearly the heavy breathing. This man is clearly post-nut.
They might just now be able to actually enter Azeroth. As Iridikron says he'll be waiting once the Titans come to claim their prize, it is heavily implied that this prize is obviously the world soul of Azeroth. Now, the Titans care about the world soul of Azeroth
who the fuck is this
more
guy?
than they care about anything else in the entire universe. I'm guessing to them it is the most powerful Titan, and if turned to the Void, it is ultimately the enemy of order. If the corruption was imminent, they would have no choice but to interfere themselves personally, which means we could literally be seeing them in person on Azeroth quite soon. However, what I think is even more mind-blowing is that if you followed my previous video, we have hints of the Dreadlords trying to recreate the Burning Legion, and they're just now...
The Dreadlords are going to play a major role going forward.
We potentially have the Natrius, the Force of Death, behind this as well. We've been getting some light hints, we've data mined some corrupted Dark Naru. Could literally all these 6 cosmological forces just come on Azeroth to try to lay their claim on the World Soul?
Just what on Azeroth now? I will say about Castle Nathria coming back, I think, you know, Blizzard says they're bringing it back for the transmog, so if you don't know this, Castle Nathria is going to be playable in LFR once again. It's not going to be scaled up or anything, it's just going to be something you can queue for and go in and do. I also think Blizzard's doing that because they want to show some people maybe who never did Castle Nathria what it's all about. Because Sire Denathrius and the Dreadlords are going to play a big role going forward, so they kind of want people to be introduced to that lore and familiar with that lore. Just saying. There might be other motives behind it. Yeah, Zoval's coming back. No, please.
And are we just going or heading straight for the most ridiculous timeline of just all time?
Male always gets
might
hit
be
tough.
exactly where the newly introduced first one step in, and we learn what they are exactly. It was said in the ancient past that before the first ones created the Order with all those crazy Zerets and these little structures, all the cosmological forces just battled each other in something akin to like a free-for-all. It was just overall chaos. Maybe this is what the Jailer saw, this ridiculous free-for-all coming on Azeroth once again, and he tried to claim the World Soul before it happens for the Death Realm, but ultimately, as you know, he failed. To make matters even more ridiculous, if the Titan Pantheon leaves and diverts all their strength to Azeroth, we could be seeing Sageras being freed, and that could open a whole different can of worms. When you think about it, he could have actually been the original, the first Jailer. He could have also realized that this ridiculous battle is going to be coming, this is what is to come, and he tried to end the World Soul before that happens, but just like Zobal, he failed. So this new storyline could involve his sword being relevant that Blizzard has constantly been referencing.
Is what? What the hell is that? What the hell is that?
Maybe he left it there for a reason to return to it later. Is Sageras going to rebuild the Legion, fight for the Titan Pantheon, join us against the Warlords, or just fight for himself? This in turn could potentially involve Illidan. The scenarios are, I mean, just literally endless. I mean, this would also be just crazy ridiculous. It could really go either way. I know this is just way too far in speculation, but seriously, by the way Blizzard is setting up the story, currently we could be going into some of the most ridiculous timelines on Azeroth, like the most ridiculous ever.
Kind of already
Thank you for watching. Check out the Undead Restoring Lore by clicking on the screen, and also check out my second channel for videos on medieval history and mythology. See you next time.
Great video. Yeah. Whether or not we're gonna fight the Titans, I don't know if he necessarily proved or disproved that, but in terms of lore and everything, he did get me thinking about seeing the Titans again and Sire Denathrius and everything else that it's gonna happen. So that's pretty good. Pretty good video.